The universe does not care. It doesn't give a damn about your circumstances. All the universe is doing is responding to you all of the time. It's responding to your feeling state, responding to your deep-rooted beliefs, those old thought patterns that you're stuck in. It's responding to that, and that's that. So a circumstance is not a thing to it. It doesn't understand, oh, that circumstance is going to stop that person from getting to that. Okay, yeah, because that's how it works. It doesn't do that. If a circumstance is nothing to you, if you've dismissed it as nothing and you really believe it, as I do, then it will never get in your way. Absolutely never hold your manifestation up, never get in your way at all. Mostly, I can just disregard a circumstance because I know reality is not reading it unless it can only read that code if I give it that code. So if I say this is going to get in my way and I keep going back to something, while knowing that circumstances don't matter, but bringing them in and making them matter to me, then reality will respond to that. So it will show me a version of reality that looks as if that circumstance has got in the way, but it isn't that. It's just that I'm not experiencing what I want because it doesn't know what I want. It only knows what I'm feeling. It can only respond to that. So if you make a circumstance important, it will seem to be important to reality because your reality will reflect a version back to you where you don't have this thing, where you feel stuck. But it's only your feeling about that circumstance that's doing it, because you are saying, here is a hurdle, here is something that's going to hold me back. Please, reality, make sure this holds me back. So when you're doing that, keep reminding yourself. Remind yourself of the times that you've manifested, that you have had something show up in your life that really shouldn't have been there. Had normal laws applied, it wouldn't have happened. Just remind yourself of the things that you have done. If you're really struggling with a circumstance, I would urge you to look at my previous video, which is the train method, the runaway train method. Have a look at that. If you can't get on with that, do this. Write your desire down and then underneath write the circumstance. So something that you feel is getting in your way, you know it shouldn't, but you know it is. And then look at it, read it together, and then put a very strong, firm line through that circumstance. Just put it through so that then that you can see is your destination, is your end goal, your manifestation. You've drawn a line through that. So that's just a signal to your subconscious that this is not important. This is nothing. Cross it out, dissolve it, delete it, whatever. You can even rub it out, but I like the drawing a firm line through something because that is really definite, like, no, you do not matter to me. Again, it only needs to matter to you to be a problem. It is never going to matter to reality because all it's doing, it's like a responsive engine. That's all it does. That's its job, to respond to you all of the time. You want something, you have no resistance, you get that thing. You want something, you have no deep-rooted belief that goes against it, you get that thing. You want something, you see a circumstance getting in your way, you don't get that thing, because what you get is the circumstance getting in your way because that's what you are dominant in. But again, just remind yourself, the universe doesn't care. And I go so far as to say the universe doesn't care about you because all it is doing is responding to you. It doesn't have feelings, it doesn't have emotions, it doesn't have any bias whatsoever. This is all my opinion, of course, and it's a shared opinion. It isn't just me that thinks it, but I strongly believe that that's what's going on here. I don't understand it, of course not. I don't understand why, and I don't understand how it's come about, but that is what it feels. That there is no bias and you can change your reality through intention with conviction. You can then start living that reality that you want to be living, but you can equally live the reality you don't want to be living by really feeling something and having a negative intent. You don't really want it, but it feels like intent. So if you imagine that the universe is just reading everything as intent, whether it's negative or positive, without bias, okay, so it's intent, so here you go, yes, you can have it, yes, you can have it, yes, you can have it, because that's what I do. I am reality and I respond to you, so you can have what you want. You can have what you intend with conviction. You can have it. Now, I do see videos here, and I'm not dissing anyone that makes these videos, because I understand why they make them. But a video that says you've been lied to, you do not have to get rid of an old assumption or an old belief in order, so that it's saying the lie is that you don't have to do that. I don't think there's ever a lie. I think when people talk on here, they talk from their own experience. So it might seem like a lie to someone else, because that's never been the case for them. But for me, I can strongly intend something with conviction, and I have a knowing feeling that whatever I've thought or feel, I can leave in the past and it will not impact me, because I feel that when that is dominant, then that is going to happen. Now, if I had old beliefs and feelings that crept back then that would take over, and I would lose that thing again at some point, whatever it is. Generally people, isn't it like that? If I went back to old fears, but I don't do that. I never do that. My mind just doesn't even attempt to do that, which is good for me, I suppose. I'm lucky on that score. I've never, I have slightly in the past, but I've really, I'd say, grown out of that. So it just doesn't do it. So I just know that they've dissolved away. I feel them gone. So I don't have to do that. But I suppose what happens is I do it with the intention. I do it with that strong conviction of this is what I want and that's that. So I suppose I am getting rid of them in that moment, but I don't have to work at it. I'm not saying I will never have to. I'm not saying there might not be something in my life where I think, oh my God, it didn't work that time. I couldn't get rid of it. I went back. I don't know, do I? How do I know how I'm going to be in the future? But at the moment, I don't need to do that. But that's not to say that you wouldn't need to, because you may not be, you may not have that same feeling that I have when I do that. But I can run with whatever. I think because I'm a pretty positive person, not all of the time, but most of the time, and I'm a glass half full kind of person, always, really, I try to be, even if I'm a sort of wavering a bit, I can bring myself back to that. So I think what happens is I run with that new reality and I think, oh, awesome, I've done it, cool. And I think that's my reality now. And I know in my mind, that is a different version of reality, one that I've selected. So of course, everything's going to be different from that point. So my mind is on with that. And so of course, my subconscious is then completely in harmony with my mind. Of course it would be, because it takes that as an instruction. But again, let's just bring it back to when you're stressing about a circumstance, remind yourself the universe does not care. It doesn't care. It won't see it if I don't see it. So if I stop making it important, it will not be a hurdle. It will not hold me back.